Bonaducci, and you are watching Gov's Radio. This is where you go if you want to see something or if you want to hear something funny. Coming up in just a couple minutes, this is a joke I told. What? I'm not on Gov Radio? Call the police. Call my agent.
Tony, welcome to Go.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
I gotta pat you down though, pal.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Got anything on you? Anything I should know?
I got nothing.
Anything weird going on?
What?
All right, you go in, Tony.
Good. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Tom Kelly of The Tom Kelly Show. Yes, this is not the only time I've gotten on my knees in the back room of a comedy club.
The Knockem Dead Comedy Radio Show is also brought to you by Two Eagles Auto Body. For more than 25 years, Two Eagles Auto Body has been the leader in auto body repairs and customer satisfaction on Long Island. Two Eagles Auto Body handles every type of auto repair from custom applications and restorations to repairs involving insurance claims. Give Two Eagles Auto Body a call and please ask for John Rossi at 516-328-2527. That's 516-328-2527.
Hey, how do you say there, people? It's Johnny Brennan, creator of the Jerky Boys, also of Fox TV's Family Guy fame. I just want to let you know you're listening to Tony on the Knockem Dead Radio Show. They're gonna keep knocking them dead, so keep listening, you wacky sons of bitch. Right there. Over and out there, sweet Charlie.
Long time no see, man. Hey, man, I miss you guys, man, at Knockem Dead Comedy Radio.
Hey, Tony, you're not funny, and you probably shit yourself a lot, and you're no fun to be with, and you don't make that much money, and you're not going anywhere in show business, and I hope you get hit by a bus.
Let's give a big shout out to Tony Walker.
Tony Walker, who's a friend of mine.
Tony Walker!
Tony Walker!
Tony Walker, everybody. Stand up, Tony. Where are you? Tony Walker! Thank you so much, mate.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Walker. Our favorite. We love you.
Okay. Bear with me for a second. Let me. Okay, let me do this. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Knockem Dead Comedy Show here on Gov's Comedy Club Podcast. We hope that you. Sorry, I'm just screwing up left and right. Okay. Welcome to the Knockem Dead Comedy Podcast. Thanks for joining us today. It is Thursday. Hope everybody's well. Please share the link to this show on all your socials. Tell everybody you know about all the great shows here at Gov's Comedy Club Podcast. That is the name of the Facebook page. That is the name of the YouTube channel. We appreciate you watching, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or both or whatever you're doing. We appreciate it very much. And we appreciate all the support that all you guys give us. You guys watch all the shows regularly. And it's very much appreciated. The Knockem Dead Comedy Show, we're coming at you live from the legendary Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, New York. And we have a great Long Island legend joining us today. Danny Kean will be here. Danny is a great Long Island musician. And it's weird. He's a great Long Island musician. Very talented keyboard player, singer, songwriter, guitar player. He really is. He's great. But he's also blind. And I sometimes, I wish that wasn't even part of the conversation. Just say he's a great musician. And that's where it should end, right there. Let's see. So, we're waiting for Danny's arrival. He should be here shortly. We're looking forward to that. Danny hasn't been here. It's at least 5 years. If I'm not mistaken, it was just before the pandemic that I think we Zoomed with him. And then I think somewhere in 2018, which is the year this show started, I believe he was in here pretty early. Yeah, he was definitely in here, and I think it was pretty early on. And then I think, like I said, I think we Zoomed with him in 2020, and that was the last time. I don't think he's watched the show since. Because when he posted this morning he was going to be on the show, he said, that he was looking forward to hanging out with me and Sally. Sally hasn't been here in almost 3 years. Can you believe that? Time flies, doesn't it? 2.5 years to be exact since Sally's been here. Yeah, September of 22. Yeah, September of 22 was the last time she was here. Craziness. So hope everybody's good today. Let's see. How can we stall until Danny gets here? Let's see. So hope everybody's doing well. Okay. I'm just going over things that I've talked about or not talked about. All right. Danny hopefully is going to play some tunes for us when he gets here. In the meantime, let's see. Tonight is the big night. The Richie Byrne celebration tonight. The stand-up sit-down show at the Huntington Cinema Arts Center. I do believe tickets are still available if anybody wants to join us. Really looking forward to that. There's going to be some great people there. Joey Cola scheduled to be there. And I think Chris Roach is going to be there. I'm going to be there, so I'm really looking forward to this night, and I'm very honored. Richie asked me to speak at this thing, so I'm going to say a few words about him, but he's also debuting some music from a musical that he just wrote. They're going to debut a cartoon that Richie had something to do with, like he voiced it, and I think he helped write it. And he's doing his set. He's going to be interviewed. It's going to be a fun night. Good morning, Mickey. Good morning, Romeo. Don't forget when is this? May 3rd. Don't forget the PJ's event on May 3rd. They're going to have some kind of eating contest. I'm not exactly sure what they're doing. But Trish will be here on Monday. Trish and Tyler and Jeff and myself. And Tyler is bringing in a magician. Forgive me, I don't know his name. But, that should be a good show. That'll be a lot of fun. Danny Kean is coming in. You can see Danny Kean at Pace's Steakhouse tomorrow night. And then the Spring Fest in Sayville on Saturday. Go to, I don't know the name of the website. It might be DannyKeanMusic.com. We'll get that from him when he gets here. But it's, you can get all the updated information. The guy is always gigging out somewhere. He's always playing somewhere. He's great. He's a lot of fun. All right, so let's see. What can we talk about until Danny gets here? I did that. So, okay. All right. So before Danny gets here, we're going to talk about some stuff. We're going to hang out. So here's the little interesting thing that I found out, that I read about. Excuse me. Obsolete experiences from way back when that the younger generations don't understand. Basically, things we used to do that you don't really see too much anymore. Basically, let's see. There was a time when all of us kids would go to school and girls were not allowed to wear pants, only skirts or dresses to school. When the temperature was freezing or if there was snow on the ground, the girls could wear pants, but only if they had skirts on over the pants. All right, let's see what Romeo's got going on. Good morning, Romeo.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is this a tribute to your career that I'm looking at a background of your picture and I see a big fucking utility pole?
Well, you also see Governor's Comedy Club right underneath me.
Yeah, well, I can't see that. That's cut off. I see your head. I see your and your earphones, but that's it. But I look at the background. I see a gloomy day, and I see a utility pole. Is that one of the poles you played with?
Well, it's hard to say because I've played with so many poles that I've lost count. No, but I'm confused. Why is that? Why can't you see the rest of the screen?
I see Danny Kean, all right, and I just see you in the back of the chair, and I see Danny Kean on top, and that's it, and in the background.
Yeah, that's not the whole thing.
Well, I'm sorry for your troubles, but that's what I can see. Maybe my iPad is not as good as your iPad. Who the hell knows? I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's what I was asking. I was trying to find out why that's going on for you, because it's not. So when Danny comes in, you might not even see him.
Well, no, because you're going to adjust the camera to see Danny. I don't really see Governor's Comedy Club. I know with the famous Governor's Comedy Club. That's the only way you broadcast from. That's the only place you broadcast, and it's famous. And I see Knockem Dead Comedy Show. Your listeners know all that.
Well, true, but
you're the main target.
Well, yeah, especially for those who want to shoot me. But I'm just, basically you're seeing only half a screen, so I was concerned. But how you feel? How you feeling?
I see the Governor's Comedy Club on the bottom. Okay,
yeah.
You did something.
I didn't.
You did something. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Hocus pocus. How are you feeling today?
Coming along. You know, I went for my shot last night.
Right.
All right. And, of course, Mrs. Luciello had to oversee. And after the shot, you get a very rough night, right. Because it's basically chemo,
Yes, right.
But, hey, listen, I'm here talking to you how better life can be.
Well, here's the question. When you got the shot, where was Mrs. Luciello's hands?
Where do you think?
I hope.
No, there's too many people in the room. It's actually an operating room.
So what?
It's a non-sterile operating room. So you have an anesthesiologist tech, not an anesthesiologist. You have an anesthesiologist tech. You have the oncologist. You have some broads fooling around with your vitals, and the cameras and stuff because they have to hit it in the bone marrow. If they don't hit it in the bone marrow, it doesn't work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, but you're awake, I'm awake, and they give you a little local that doesn't really work, as you very well know with these locals. Oh, we're going to numb it. Numb your balls. That's what you're numbing, But that's it. I mean, you go home, you're sore. The ride home is a little sore, but I'm used to it. And then you do all the good stuff. You know, but I had a little light breakfast this morning, and I kept it down, so that was good. So
That is
it.
good. Yeah.
And now I'm in good shape.
I
like I said, I'm always in good shape. Monday through Friday, I'm in good shape. From 11 to 1, I'm in great shape.
I like how you said you got some broad playing with my vitals or fooling around with my vitals. I like you're definitely from the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens area.
Oh
man.
I'm a true South Bronx guy. Yeah, it's terrible. I know. And my wife's been trying to get me out of that habit since I know her, 14 years. But I'm doing it for 60 years, so she got no shot.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah, but
all right, well,
but, you know, they're funny. They walk in, you know, and they're all smiles. They're all, you know, they're saying, look at this poor bastard. He's going to die. We've got to give him chemotherapy. And they're all very polite. And how are you? How this and that? Shut the fuck up. Do what you got to do. Let me get out of here. Please. You don't give a flying shit how I feel and how I'm doing. You're just being polite. That's all. You could care less. The next sucker, there's 2 other guys waiting outside, you know, because it's like a rotor-rooter machine. You know, you go in and out, in and out. I don't have to tell you. You know.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but I am going to disagree though. I felt the people that fooled around with my vitals, all those broads, I felt they were very caring and they did actually give a shit.
Nah, it's an act. It's an act. You think when they go home, you think after their shift and they take off the scrubs and they go home, they're worried about Tony Walker or John Rusciello? Or Jeff Skelly, they don't give a shit at all. Come on.
I think there might be a small percentage of them who do.
Well, the only one that does that I know of is my wife. She used to go to the wakes, God forbid if they expired.
Right.
She would go to the wakes, but she doesn't do it anymore because it was really affecting her.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, right, but that's my point. Yeah, I think some of them do take it home with them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen. It is what it is, but to me, it's just a job. As long as I tell them, I walk in the room, I say, "Hello, everybody. Don't let me flatline, and I'll be your best friend." And they all laugh, and they think I'm cute, and that's all. Yeah, as long as I don't flatline.
Well, yeah, that would kind of suck.
Well, because they actually scare you. I don't know if you had this, but they actually scare you. They bring the crash cart right next to you. You know, when you're laying on that table.
I don't think I've had that.
The first thing they do is, I guess because of my age and I'm morbidly obese, as they say.
Yeah.
You're morbidly obese. I say, I'm not morbidly obese. I'm a fat bastard. And they laugh at that, too. Everybody thinks I'm crazy.
That is
but
good.
They bring the crash cart, and I says, is that necessary? Put that in the corner of the room. I don't want to see that.
All right, listen, I'm going to cut you off. My guest is here. I got to go get the door. Goodbye. Thank you, pal. All right, let me put on some Danny stuff, and I'll be right back.
He has been blind since birth, but that hasn't stopped a young man from Farmingdale from playing his way to the top. I caught up with Danny Kean, and we spoke about overcoming the obstacles that stand in your way. I joined him playing this Bob Dylan tune as we went to a terrain he can see as clear as day. Music.
And talk about me. They keep on going, and they never stop. So to all the folks who try to doubt me, I bet you won't be laughing when I'm on the top. Ooh, wait, weekday, I hear you again. Play about to all your farewell friends.
How could I explain it? The way you make me feel is just so amazing. Baby girl, your touch is making me nervous. I wonder what I did to ever deserve this. Because you love me. From a whole wide world to choose somehow. You love me. I don't want no one with you right now. You love me. Such a very special way.
beautiful night. I don't even have to ask her. The time is always right. Now as my days grow short, I'm in the autumn of my years now. And I think of my life as a vintage wine from fine old days. Turn around to the days I was poor and sweet again. It was a very good year. It was a very good year. Oh, it was a very good year. Oh, my friend, it was a very good year.
Daniel's packing the lunch? You're making lunch, Daniel? But you can't see. See, Daniel's blind, he can't see. Well, how are you going to make lunch, Dan?
Easy, Big Bird. Even though I can't see, I can feel what I'm making with my fingers. I can feel that this is the cheese and this is the bread.
Oh.
And then I put them together, make a sandwich. Then we wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Danny Kean from Long Island, New York. I've been blind since birth. I guess that's why I was chosen to show the world what Quebec is like in summer. You know, there's a reason why people close their eyes when they kiss, when they cry, and when they pray. Because the most essential things in life must be felt with our hearts.
I can't see the forest, and I can't see the trees. I can't be no tourist. There's no sights for me to see. I can't even see my family. Growing up so fast. Or look back on my memories from my not so distant past. But I see you. You're all I wanna see. I see you. You're all I need to see. 'Cause there's no other vision that matters to me. 'Cause I see you. I can't get you out my solar system. You take up every inch of space. And to think how long would I'd been missing was staring me right here in my face. I'll do what I have to make sure that I have you. 'Cause no one in this world can make me feel like you do. Oh, you bring the goodness out of me. You're leaving my heart in ecstasy. Oh, baby, you make me feel so proud to be all around you. So glad I found you.
Okay, we are set to go. Sorry about that. Yeah, it took us a few minutes to get them all started, but the man is here. We are good to roll. Good morning, Danny Kean, sir.
Tony Walker. It's been for years and years.
It's been way too long, pal. I was actually going to ask you, when was the last time we saw each other?
We did something Zoom over COVID.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was just saying before you got. That was the last time, right?
Yeah.
So it's been 5 years.
Yeah. Easy.
That's way too long, man. That's crazy.
We're friends a long time. How you been?
Good. How about you, man?
I'm, just saving up to be broke. You know how it is.
Yeah, I hear you. I know the feeling. And who may I ask is this lovely woman that has come in here with you today?
Oh, that's the Linda lady. She makes life possible.
Good answer. I like it.
She makes it all happen.
And yeah, she definitely does. I mean, she is working hard around here. I was impressed. Did you call her the Linda woman? Is that
the
what you
Linda
said?
lady?
The Linda lady. I like that. I like that.
We know each other forever, and yeah, she's something else.
Yeah. Well, Paul McCartney has a little song called "The Lovely Linda." Right?
There you go. He would know.
Very nice. Very good. Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, it's been a while.
Man,
So
a minute.
Start from the beginning. Let's just go. Tell me everything for the past 5 years.
So there was this virus that was pretty new, and nobody knew how to handle it, and we couldn't figure out where we were going. So we went nowhere, and so. And then we had to kind of rebuild, so I, had to call up everybody I knew and see who still wanted music, and that's been a slow climb. And doing some acting work. I just got back from Chile a couple weeks ago.
Really?
And that was interesting. And so that's way new. Let's see.
What kind of acting? What was the job?
I did a commercial for Kia Motors. They have a car coming out in Europe that tells you via sound cues exactly what kind of terrain you're around. Like there's a sound for water, there's a sound for mountains, there's a sound for all these different things. Unfortunately, there's no sound for crash. I'm kidding. And so they, now they don't hire advertising executives. They hire actors that can improv and talk about how great a product is for hours on end. Right. So I was that guy.
So it was like a voiceover job?
No, I had to go over there and try the car and
take
pictures with the car and be a passenger in the car. I asked to drive and see how it really works, but they would not go for it.
All right. I'm glad you clarified because that's where I was getting confused.
That's not driverless. It's trying to make the experience of being a passenger even more immersive.
Okay.
So much so that even a blind guy can enjoy some of the scenery through sound cues, which is pretty hip when you think of it. I mean, anytime that people even address it is a win for me.
Right. Yeah. True. I would think though. Do you guys? But you probably pick up those feels and those sounds before we do anyway.
Well, cars are sort of. I'm pretty isolated when in a car.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Out in the wilderness, I'm something else. But
yeah.
I mean, blind people that are born blind like myself have something called facial vision, which is a crazy phenomenon. So like anyone listening, Tony, yourself included, if you want to take your hand like this.
Okay.
Yeah, you get that like seashell thing.
Oh, yes.
I get that from a wall behind me.
Oh, no kidding.
I get that from the person standing next to me. And it's made so I don't whack my head on everything.
Yeah, sure.
It's like having eyes on the side of your head.
Okay.
So we're pretty good out in the world, but in a car, you're really at the mercy of who's ever driving to tell you what you're around. So
you're Daredevil. Do you watch that show? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I am aware of the Ben Affleck movie.
Oh yeah.
And it was when it came
same
out,
character, but now it's a TV show with somebody else.
Okay, they did a TV show with it. That's cool.
Yeah, but that's how he fights crime because he has the senses, so he doesn't have to see. He feels it coming.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I cannot fight crime, so I will not.
I'm going to differ. I bet you kick ass.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd rather not find out.
Well, you kick ass on the keyboard and the guitar. I'll tell you that.
That's the goal.
Well, you reached the goal, pal.
How about you? How's the comedy going? Everybody still?
Yeah, it's going. Same thing. Because the comedy that I do is I have a dinner theater troupe.
That I know.
Right, and we. We're not up on a stage, traditional stage. Our shows are interactive with the audience. So same thing. Coming out of the pandemic, because we're so interactive and right next to the audience, that was one of the last things to come back because we're so close. So
of course,
but we're still working our way back. And last year was still kind of slow, but this year we're picking up already. So. We're excited, and we're hoping it's just going to get better and better, right?
I like that.
I know you do. I do, too.
I like that. And I think people are receptive to it. It's a weird time to be a person.
Yeah.
And we all need a relief from the inundated nature of, consumption. We just are always being bombarded with facts and opinions, and
Yes.
I think it's good to cut loose sometimes. I think entertainers have the ability to provide that for people.
Yes, that's one of the beauties of the building we're in. I mean, you come to this place, and you can feel it. People are. It doesn't matter what you vote or who you voted for,
Right.
what organization you're with. That people are coming here to just kind of forget it for a few hours and have some laughs. Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing.
And I'm sure that's the case for you too, right?
Absolutely.
They're gonna go, hear some music and not think about the shit and just enjoy some good tunes. Like tomorrow night at Pace's Steakhouse.
That's the plan.
You perform there all the time, right?
I do that every Friday.
Every Friday, very nice.
It has been such a blessing because it's a huge source of people. There's always people around.
Yeah.
I'm always able to work on whatever I'm trying to bring to a different level, and it's the greatest practice you could have. It's a beat up old piano, strong keys. So whatever you get on after that's easy. So it's a great opportunity to work on things in a real way.
Yep, I hear you. Did you, because once the pandemic was over, I mean, it seemed like music was one of the first things in the entertainment world anyway, that was one of the first things to kind of bounce back.
Yeah.
So but it was slow for you at first or no?
Very.
Really?
I have an autoimmune disorder, so I had to decide very carefully when was safe enough and when things were at a place that could be trusted and that I would be safe. And so that took a second.
Yeah.
So I was one of the later people to come back. Not the last and definitely not the first. I mean, some people never stopped.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And I can't judge anybody. People have to do what's right for them, of course. But I was not in the belief that was a good thing to do for me, and so I didn't.
Yeah.
And
what's the immune deficiency? What is it?
So I have something called mast cell activation disorder. It's they say people whose ancestors survived the plague have it, and it's
really,
it's basically you're allergic to life. Your body misinterprets everything as a virus.
Wow.
And so you have to eat very carefully. There's medicine for it. There's a million ways to try to deal with it in a constructive way, but some of it is just not in your control at this time. And one of it is that when I get sick, my body doesn't know how to stop being sick. So like if I get a cold and it lasts 10 days, it's over. But my body doesn't know that, and it keeps fighting and inflammation of the lungs and all kinds of things, inflammation of the joints. So you got to be really careful and judicious about what you're going to do with yourself.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never heard of this before. How rare is it?
It's becoming better understood. I
Okay.
mean, when I first got diagnosed, half the doctors said it was a fallacy and not a real thing, and now it's being way better understood.
Okay.
But I've gone to hospitals for surgery and they didn't understand, and I got terribly sick afterwards from them not knowing which drugs not to give you.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I'm back in the hospital.
Wow.
With all kinds of problems. So it's the thing. You actually have to educate yourself in order to be a patient with it. You have to become your own advocate, and it's not easy to do that.
Yeah, sure. But I'm sure you have the experience in the advocacy department.
Yeah.
I know your parents had to fight for your services at school when you were young.
It was not easy.
Yeah. So yeah, you're. Wow. Did you ever have just a calm day? What's going on around here?
It ain't easy being a person, but it's definitely not easy being this person.
Good answer. And I do have to point out, like you mentioned, it's people just looking for a way to, kind of cut loose and enjoy themselves, and we're here at the Comedy Club.
Totally.
Do you have a dream of a life in comedy? Because some of those posts, man.
I do love comedy.
Yes.
It is my. I always say music, comedy, and peacocks. Those are the three things.
Music, comedy, and peacocks.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with peacocks.
Obsessed with peacocks
since I was like 3 years old. It's one of those things. I even have the ring, man.
What? You have a peacock ring?
Yeah,
what in the world is that?
Yeah.
Wow.
You gotta rep the bird,
That's your next album title right there. Rep the bird.
I like that. It would mean something different to most people, though.
That's true.
But yeah, I love comedy, and Howard and all that stuff was such a big thing when I was a kid. O&A.
Yep.
And they introduced me to what that kind of comedy was.
Well, all right. Well, that kind of comedy. Let me read something here.
Oh no.
And then there was the time I was a DJ at WRRR. It was a pirate radio station.
All right, these are not the good ones.
Your words, not mine. All right, here's a good one. I'm not sure if opening a high-end marijuana dispensary would help me make a lot of friends, but I'm pretty sure I'd be close to some real good buds. That was good. I thought that was clever. I like that one.
My favorite one of recent ones is, did you know that beloved scientist and educator Neil deGrasse Tyson has a brother that is the most successful landscaper of all? His name is Mo deGrasse Tyson.
Oh my goodness!
These are the dumb things but you have to. It's social media. You gotta. I don't claim to be a comic, and I love it too much to ever claim that. You know what I mean?
I don't know why I'm laughing so hard.
I don't know either. You shouldn't.
You ever do any of these liners in your?
I do
playing?
A lot of blind stuff.
Oh, do you?
At the gigs, because it helps disarm.
Yes.
Because it's a weird thing for people. A totally blind person is like 0.25% of the population. They're very rare. We're unicorns.
Yeah.
And so people don't know how to address it. And so I have all these things that I'm your blind date for the evening. I can't drive you home, but I can drive you crazy for a little while. I'm out of sight and out of my mind. Blind as a bat, but I find where it's at. And if you find yourself a blind man, you leave the rest behind, man. You got all these little tags that you can use. But I would never, ever call myself a comic. But I love it as much as anybody could.
Yeah, any ever been tempted to jump up on stage without the keyboard to tell jokes?
No, because number one, I love it and respect how hard that is to just go up and I think the kind of jokes that people would really want a blind guy to do would be so pigeonholing, and also would have to. I don't know how comedians talk about their family and their friends and their girlfriends. Most people I know would never speak to me again if I did that, and rightly so. I mean that's they didn't sign up for that.
Yeah, true.
So I don't know. I respect that comedians have to really share. I mean, in the music, you're sharing with yourself in ways that people don't even realize. You really do tell on yourself.
Yes.
When you play music in a way that it's not shouting at you, but you can tell a lot about somebody by the decisions that they make when playing music.
Yeah, I think people, they enjoy the music, but I don't think they're listening. Well, most people, or at least a good percentage of people, aren't listening to the lyrics as closely as they would be listening to what a comedian is saying.
But I don't even think it's lyrics. Like, you can
Okay.
tell just the way two people pick up the same guitar and make it sound. You can tell a lot about who they are.
Yeah, right.
It
Makes sense.
It's not only just a touch thing. It's also like the things you choose to curate and recycle into your own playing say a lot about you. They just do.
Yeah.
And it's a weird thing. You're being much more vulnerable than people realize when you play music. You're telling who you are and what you think and what you're about.
Right.
And comedians do that too, to some degree. Actually, I'm not even sure that's true. I think a lot of them just share what's funny. That the funny is the goal, whether you believe it or not.
Well, yeah, and I think sometimes, like you're talking about comedians talking about, people in their personal life. Sometimes, they're exaggerating or they're just flat out making it up, and they're just using, that family member, that friend as the character.
Sure.
But yeah, it just comes down to whatever's funny. So you wouldn't want to talk about your parents in it if you did.
Never.
Your dad's not really a threatening man.
You don't know like I do. I'm kidding.
But I the reason I bring up your parents is because, of course, doing my research for today.
Sure.
You started playing clubs at the age of 15?
Yeah.
Your parents were like, did they not know where you were?
No,
were they out?
They were very encouraging. They came to a lot of stuff early on, and they also let me just be and learn about the world, and for better and for worse. And that's a thing I don't see going on with younger generations.
Oh, definitely not.
For better and for worse. I don't know how that's going to manifest, but like now everybody's at everything. Every practice.
Yep.
Every game, every social interaction is with your folks, and I can't speak to what a good or bad thing that is. That wasn't my experience, and I'm glad it wasn't. That's all I can say.
So you were like, so going to these clubs at 15. So
Sure.
it was all sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Like,
I mean, that was definitely around.
Oh,
it was
nice.
Definitely around, and you had to choose what to get involved in, and luckily I managed to make some of the right choices. I'm here, and a lot of people aren't. And
well, true. So your dad just got a little cooler to me that he let you do
my
all
dad's a very cool guy.
Yeah. How is he? Good?
He's good. He's a tough dude, man. He was a military staff sergeant.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's an interesting dude. Very, very smart.
Mm-hmm. Very straight-laced, even keel.
Yeah,
is how I knew your dad at the phone company.
And that's definitely his thing.
And he had a brother at the phone company too, right?
No.
No? Oh, I thought he did. Okay.
No, he has a brother though. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know why I knew that. Okay. But he's well. Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing great.
Good.
He's doing great. He's survived a lot of difficult health things and a lot of difficult life
right?
things. He's a really, really strong dude. Like that's something I've learned from him is how to discipline yourself out of whatever you're in, and that's a great quality.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No matter what you're battling, the frame of mind is more. I think that people are starting to realize now how important that is. But
sure.
But I think when me and your dad were kids, I don't think that was really looked at as much. What I'm very curious. I know one of the first albums that kind of wanted to help you motivate you to get into music was Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, of course.
Which one? Are You Experienced?
They had a best of
okay.
that came out in a certain I think it was in 91. And it was so much material of so many different and his career was so short in the public.
Right.
4 years.
Yep.
And
I think he only put out 4 albums in his lifetime.
Sure.
Now it's like 800.
Now there's a lot more.
Yeah. Too much.
Which I love all that stuff, but I could understand that he probably wouldn't enjoy that.
Oh, absolutely.
Same way
right.
Prince wouldn't enjoy all this vaulted stuff coming out. But it was so deep to see what an artist could do in that period of time. You could say the same thing about the Beatles, and
yeah,
that stuff was so heavy as a kid, and that really, really pushed me to his phrasing was so much more organ-like than people realize. A lot of those guys, there was a big thing, if you remember, in the 60s, there was like that organ trio stuff.
Yeah, right.
A lot of people were inspired by that in a
Right.
big way. Jimmy Smith and all of that music.
The Rascals even.
Of course.
Yeah.
Billy Joel had an organ trio record.
Yeah, Attila.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, that's an organ duo record, but that's really what they were
It was-
going
it was
for. That
heavy
thing.
metal
yeah,
duo, yeah.
It's like Deep Purple-ish, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And even the Beatles. I mean, just like Hendrix, the stuff that they've put out in such a short time. The Beatles, they put out 12 albums in 6 or 7 years.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's heavy.
In fact, today, it was 55 years ago today that the Beatles announced their breakup.
Wow.
That's your useless fact of the day, right?
That's very interesting.
But it was so the Hendrix best of that. Like what? I mean, you were already playing piano at that point.
I always played, but there's
Yeah.
playing and then there's playing.
Right.
And the bug, it's like anything. I think the bug catches you how it catches you.
Right.
And different things. And I heard that music, and I heard a certain thing that runs through music, a certain through line, which starts with the blues.
Right.
And it moves through the funk, rock and roll, hip hop, and how it's all very, very connected, and in a way that opens your mind to liking Ray Charles and Curtis Mayfield and the Beatles, and what you hear. You see how what you're hearing today relates through that through line, and it really, that's where the bug started with me, and it's a weird place to start, but. Especially for a piano player, but I think it's an interesting way, and I see young kids now picking up instruments and finding that same line, and it's really beautiful, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. And mentioned Billy Joel. I mean, he lists Hendrix as one of his inspirations all the time. Yeah.
Very into Hendrix and very into Steve Winwood.
Yes.
He thought Winwood was the neatest guy, and he still is.
And I'm glad you mentioned Steve Winwood, because I have a loyal. I don't like to call them fans, or I call them actually extended family. The people that watch this show.
Sure.
I got into an argument with some of them a few weeks ago.
Right.
Over the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Right. That does start a lot of arguments.
It does, and I think you might be helping me out here. Steve Winwood is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That's weird.
That's a crime.
I mean, at least for one, not even in any of the bands.
All right, yes,
Spencer
all right.
Davis or Traffic.
Traffic is in.
Okay.
But I don't think Spencer Davis in, and he's definitely not in as a solo artist.
That's weird.
It's a crime, and I got into a fight because with these people, these weirdos, because they're fine. You want to put in Cher, that's fine.
I'm fine with that too.
Yeah, but I'm not throwing Cher in until people like Steve Winwood are
right, and I get that. And Todd Rundgren,
right,
isn't in yet to my knowledge.
Right.
And the industry just doesn't like certain people, though.
Well, true, but that's the problem with it. It shouldn't be a popularity contest. It should be you met a certain criteria, you should be in.
Yeah, I guess it should be that way.
I mean, especially Steve Winwood. That's a no-brainer.
Right.
Yes.
I think he should be in there.
Danny Kean agrees with me. You sons of bitches.
What's their argument for that? That's what I want to hear. What's the argument for not having Steve Winwood?
The feedback I got was, like he didn't really, like his songs haven't really
aged
well.
Yeah,
haven't aged well, haven't stood the test of time, and I completely disagree.
I don't know. Give Me Some Lovin' is on every commercial. It's everywhere.
Right. If you want to get technical though, that's Spencer Davis.
Sure, but it has nothing to do with Spencer Davis.
Well, I know that. But I'm saying technically, even you'd go by his official solo stuff.
Sure.
Higher Love, Roll With
that's
It.
everywhere, yeah.
Valerie, Higher Love. I think I said Higher Love, but
Right.
just tremendous catalog of great music.
You know what's funny? I feel like everybody that we all know and love had a really cheeseball period in the 80s. And even if it was great, it ages cheesy, even if it shouldn't. Like, I was enjoying a Robert Cray record the other day.
Nice.
And it was amazing. But it was recorded in such a way that screams of 80s in a way that most people would go, this is 80s crap. And it's really beautiful stuff. But the 80s, for some reason, the way they were recording.
Yeah.
And the amount of reverb, everything had to be
everything
stadium sounding.
Yes.
Everything sounded like, trash cans.
Yes. I listened to Eric Clapton's August album.
Right.
Phil Collins produced it,
Sure.
but it's so 80s.
It's a dope record. All those records are really, really great.
Yep.
They just age sound-wise funny. And I think a
Yes.
lot of people, no matter what you like or don't like, I think everybody's cheesiest period was the 80s.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, everything. The clothes we wore, everything was cheesy
Sure.
in the 80s. Absolutely. I had hair back then. So, that's interesting. You mentioned that then. What do you think now as a musician with all the AI?
It is very scary.
Scary, but like you take the Beatles, they didn't, they took existing stuff for that last song they put out a year or two ago. I think that for something like that, it works. It's a cool tool,
Right.
but I see what you're saying when it's as far as scary.
It's very scary for songwriters.
Yeah.
But songwriters have been getting the shaft for, really ever since the Napster thing.
Yes.
And that's why, we didn't understand what Metallica was talking about, but they were really speaking up for a lot of people.
Yep, absolutely.
And it is scary that right now it's very soulless sound. And if you make an AI song about your radio show, it's going to sound, for some reason, it all sounds like New Country. And I don't know why. And I'm not saying New Country is soulless, because it's not. But it sounds like if you took the heart out of New Country music, that's what AI music sounds like so far.
Huh. Oh, that's interesting.
I haven't heard it not sound like that yet.
Right.
And maybe that's where it's at right now. But when it develops a heart, which everything shows us that it will.
Right, yeah.
I think we're all in a weird place.
Yep. I agree. Like I said, I do think it's a useful tool with stuff like the Beatles,
Sure.
and even now there's some live recordings that the Beatles did before they were famous, where it sounds like it was just somebody's cassette recorder.
Sure.
So if you can take AI to clean stuff like that up, I'm all for it.
Very cool.
Yeah, but yeah, to your point, like even in the comedy world, I think it was about a year ago, some guy used AI to generate a brand new George Carlin special.
Oh no!
I mean, it had his voice. It was like
Was it
claymation.
slamming?
It was terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't well written.
No, not at all. But the voice, if
Right.
you
Didn't know any better, right?
yeah, you wouldn't know. You would think that. Holy,
Did it sound like old Carlin or young Carlin?
It sounded. I would say old. Yeah, towards the old side.
Okay, so it had the scratchy.
Yes,
thing
definitely
that
the
he had at the
scratchy. I smoked too much
Right.
voice. Yeah.
Okay.
Where
Okay.
his daughter ended up suing somebody over it, but
as she should.
Oh, absolutely, totally. Yeah, so I hear you. It does get a little scary. And between, like you said, AI writing songs, scary for a songwriter.
Sure.
And you guys, you guys who put out albums, there's no money there anymore. Is that, as far as I know, you haven't put out anything new in a long time. Does that have something to do with that? Or
it has a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
Because that was sort of it was a calling card, if nothing else. So you'd spend a certain amount on a record, and you'd sell it for a very small price at gigs.
Yeah.
And people would take it home, and sometimes it would help them remember a nice night, and sometimes they would end up really, really digging it and following you for the rest of your life. So it was a calling card. It was an investment. So even if you didn't get it back in one way, you got it back in followership.
Sure.
And
people coming to see you second, third, fourth time.
And it doesn't happen that way anymore. And people have to want to look for it. And if they look for it, they look for one song, and they tell you that your whole career should sound exactly like that one song that they like.
Right.
And it's a little nutty. there are things I want to do and things I absolutely have to do, but I don't really know to what end. I just know I want to do them.
It is a kind of a weird transitional time, like you said, and you don't know what to even do with it. Because it seems like the full-length album is almost on its way out,
Sure.
but where is it going? Like you said, is it just
singles? Maybe.
Yeah, right.
And vinyl's making a comeback.
Yes,
in a big way.
Record Store Day is this Saturday.
Yep, I'm all for it. Blind Guys aren't bad at vinyl though. I mean, that's just asking for a scratched up record. Yeah, that's.
Well, it's good if you're a hip hop artist.
Yeah, it'd be the worst, the most accidental DJ.
What is the easiest? The streaming, getting a song on a computer?
I was a CDs guy, but
I'm a CD guy.
I never had good luck with Spotify. I listen to a lot of stuff on YouTube, which makes me part of the problem. And I still love, I love really, really well-made radio. Like I listen to the big radio station, like New York has WFUV.
Sure.
New Orleans has something called WWOZ, and it's all New Orleans stuff, and it's all the classic funk stuff.
Nice.
And it's streamed all over. Like you can get it on your, any kind of device, Amazon device or iPhone or whatever you got. I just sounded 80 years old right now.
Well, yeah, two guys.
Get it on your
radio.
Hoosie watch.
Put on your cans and listen. Well, and speaking of CDs, I'm going to ask you actually to play a song in a second. But speaking of CDs, I have an issue. I have 2 Danny Kean CDs.
Right.
What is it? One is self-titled. The other one is Blinded. What is the other one? Blinded something.
Oh, I don't own any of the rights to that.
Oh.
The other one that I have out is called Here It Is.
Here It Is. That's the EP, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the first one
The first one I don't own. A label basically stole that from me when I was really, really young. It was my first raw deal in the business.
Oh, I had no
But it's out
idea.
there.
All right, never mind.
And people love it to some degree.
All right, well, I'll stick with the self-titled one then.
Yeah, man.
My issue with it is that there's no, like, I'm a big liner notes geek. I love reading who plays, who's
Oh, it's
who
there.
wrote. No, it's not on mine.
Of course it is.
Oh,
I always credit everybody.
I should have brought it in with me. I got it from CD Baby years ago, and there's nothing. There's a you open it up the CD and there's one of them. I think it's the self-titled one. There's actually nothing. It does open, but there's nothing in it. And then when you close it, the back just has the track listing. And then the one that we don't talk about, just has like a picture of a. I think it's like an ocean or something.
Yeah,
I should have. I should have brought it.
That's how labels do. They put zero thought.
I know. Yeah, I like knowing who plays on this stuff. So
no, it's all there. It might be under the track listing. It's been forever since I would never not credit people. There's too many great people on my records.
And I'm glad you say that. Can we? Well, who you got? You still got the trio?
I'm just since the pandemic, most things are by myself.
Oh wow!
Most things are. That's just where the opportunities are, and I don't know why it's like that.
Okay.
And I've had to get really good at it, and it's hard.
Wow.
Because you have nobody to feed off except the
Sure.
audience. So now what I do is I just show up and practice, and people end up liking it. I try to just do better than yesterday.
Well, but there are certain songs I'm sure that might not even work.
No. There are things that are so band related, and when people ask for them, I'm like, you'll have to book the band because it's really hard.
Well, I was watching your appearance with the Blues Warehouse with Mark Klein.
Yeah.
And Mark, I haven't seen Mark in a long time either. He's another good man.
Good dude.
But you guys opened with The Hunter. So I'm like, you can't do that by yourself.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah?
Of course you can.
Danny's about to smack me, I think.
No, of course you can. Now, that blues stuff works great by yourself.
But that's such a heavy, to me, that's like a heavy tune. Like, you need a wailing guitar and a guy smacking the
There's
kit.
a couple ways you can do it. You could do it piano style, or you could do it organ style. But, it all works.
Okay.
A lot of that stuff. What doesn't work is the funk.
Okay,
If you do any kind of funk things. It really takes a lot to make it work.
Yeah.
And it's really, to take the band out of a Tower of Power song, and how much do you like it?
Right.
I'm not saying the song isn't great. It is, but it's the sum of the parts.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm a big fan of the Spin Doctors.
Of course.
And those guys are groovy. In fact, the bass player, Mark White, he's been in here several times.
Very cool.
He's great, although he's not in the band anymore. But those guys, they're just so groovy. And then I actually just came across the other day them doing some acoustic stuff. It was like 30
Different.
years old, but yeah, different. And I'm not going to say it was bad, but it definitely there was something missing.
Right.
When you don't have the full drums or the funky guitar and a cracking bass.
Right. And that's definitely what it's like playing by yourself. And,
Yeah.
and you got to figure out how to make that work through the power of your voice, the power of your playing. And it's a challenge.
Right.
But that's where the opportunities are. That's what people are booking, and that's what people seem to want, whether I like it or not.
Yeah. And it's the same thing here in the comedy world. There's a lot less comedy clubs on Long Island than there used to be.
Sure.
And a lot of guys are now, they're going into a pizza place, a bar, anybody that has some kind of space, and they're producing their own shows now. Is that something you would ever consider? Like, let me get the trio back, and I'll just
Sure.
yeah.
If the opportunity, and we've had a few opportunities, and it was so much of a blast, and people loved it, and I loved
man.
it.
Yeah.
And it's really just about opportunity.
Sure.
And you have to go be whatever the opportunity tells you to be.
Okay. All right.
And I think that's part of, if there's anything I would tell musicians trying to figure out how to do it, is make yourself as versatile as possible. Make it yourself a good band member,
right,
a good band leader, and a good band, participant. If you just get called for a pickup gig, be the coolest, passenger there could be. And learn how to play by yourself if you have to. It's not fun, and it's going to be not as enjoyable, but you will get better at it.
Yeah, okay. So as we're doing the show here, like I said, we're going to get a song out of you in a second. But
sure, man.
I'm reading, because we're live on YouTube and we're getting comments coming in. A guy my friend who watches every day, his name is John Rusiello. He's down in Florida.
Hey, John.
He wants to know, he was one of the most vocal guys when Cher was getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So he's chiming in again.
Okay.
So he wants to know your opinions on, because Joe Cocker is not in.
I love Joe Cocker.
John Rusiello hates Joe Cocker.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
But that Mad Dogs and Englishmen record.
That is a great record.
And for piano guys, it's really heavy because of Leon Russell.
Right.
And how they use the organ. And Joe is one of those people that is basically doing a Ray Charles. If you really check him out, he's really approaching things and in his version, through his own filters and through his own voice, a very Ray Charles concept. So if you don't like Joe Cocker, you don't love the Ray Charles thing, which is sacrilege to me, John.
Absolutely. I was about to say that's blasphemy to not like Ray Charles.
Ray Charles is an American treasure. He's probably, I consider Ray Charles just like Creedence Clearwater Revival, like the most American thing.
Sure.
There's very few things that are more American sounding to me than Ray Charles and Creedence.
Creedence did all that stuff, with the swamp and the bayou and all that. Meanwhile, when Fogerty wrote that stuff, he had never been there.
Right. He's from El Cerrito, California.
Yeah. Is that the craziest thing, man? That blows me away.
Yeah.
Kind of jealous, to be honest with you. But yeah, so John, our friend in Florida, he had some personal experiences with Joe Cocker, which makes him biased.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like you said, how can you deny that voice? And yeah, he's doing Ray Charles, but still nobody had a voice like Joe Cocker.
I'll tell you my funny Joe Cocker story. So this is a secondhand story. So I did a gig with Jimmy Vivino from Conan.
Yeah.
And he told me, because we did a Cocker tune, and I sang, and he goes, "Wow, you do that in a real interesting way." And I did a fill-in gig with Joe once, and he wanted to do some song. He's like, "I don't remember what the song was," but I said, "Yeah, I know it." And I started moving it up the neck, and no, higher. And He goes, now it hurts. This is where I wanted to be. I'm like, all right, that's the concept, I guess. But there is something true about tension. A great opera singer once told me the reason that people love the Beatles and the reason it still sounds good, a lot of it has to do with tension, because these are people. John Lennon had a natural baritone, but he was trying to sing tenor.
Yes.
So a guy at the very end of his range, when you hear his version of their version of Twist and Shout, is a great example of that. It's barely happening.
Right.
But that's the tension that we all look for. And Joe really made a whole career out of that tension.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry he wasn't nice to you, John. I totally get how having a bad experience with. I've had a lot of bad experiences with celebs over the years, and I really have a hard time separating the art from the artist, and I could totally understand.
Is that right? You have a hard time separating?
I think everybody does. So
Yeah.
I think our job as entertainers is to. It's so easy to make someone have a good experience with you.
Yeah.
You got to work hard to have a bad experience with me.
Right.
Like you've earned it if you have a bad experience. You know what I mean? Like I go so far out of my way to be super nice because I understand how the opposite can really ruin the art for somebody.
Yep. I'm with you.
And I'm sure I've failed somewhere along the line, and no one's perfect, but you should definitely, I think that's part of the call of being an entertainer. If you want to call yourself one, you have to know how to shake hands and smile when you're in the worst mood of your life, or when a night is going awfully.
That's why I never really understood, like, a Kurt Cobain, or even Lennon went through it at one point. These guys work so hard to become, to get their music heard, be famous, and then they can't handle it, or they rebel against it. Like, but this is what you aim to be the whole time. So I don't really get that.
I think that there is an answer to that, and I think it's because there's a difference between being an artist and an entertainer, and you can be both.
Yes.
Neil Young is an artist.
Yes.
He happens to entertain some people, but he doesn't mind if he doesn't.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and Lennon, well, I guess Cobain too. They got way bigger than
they planned,
than anybody thought they could ever be.
And that's a huge burden.
Yes.
On a person, an artist, a true artist, which I'm a little half, and I'd say I'm 60% entertainer, 40% artist.
Yeah.
I think a true artist is a really sensitive person. I think every human being is a sensitive person, but I think a true artist, a real person that just does it for the sake of doing it, they wouldn't mind if you didn't like it. It's all that, but they're really sensitive people. And when you put the onus of fame, the onus of money, the onus of people invading your private life, I think that makes a lot of sense. Why?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's right or good. I'm saying that I understand how artistry can really mess with someone. I think Marvin Gaye was a true artist in that way.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well said, by the way.
I'm trying.
So I need to warn you, there's another friend that watches the show every day, pretty much since the show started back in 2018, which is, I believe, when you first came in here.
How cool is that?
His name is Andrew Fremder. Now, his comments will make you feel better about some of your posts, okay?
I love it.
So you mentioned the opera singer. So Fremder says, when Placido Domingo doesn't feel well, he has a fever, oh, fever, oh.
I like that.
No, please don't encourage him.
I like that.
All right, I could sit here and talk to you all day, so let's get a song going because I'll just never stop
Can I
talking
do the
to
Hunter now that you said
Oh, you can do whatever you want. I would personally love that. But you play whatever you want, man.
All right, well, let's start with that because, I have that thing. If someone tells me it can't happen, and now it has to happen.
I didn't doubt you, though. I wasn't telling you it's impossible. Let me see. Do I need to move? I guess I need to move the mic.
All right.
Let me see.
I'll slide this over here.
You got the chair there. Okay. And then, so right to your left on the top of the keyboard here, it's kind of an empty space. So I'll just put the mic there.
Sounds cool to me.
All right, cool.
All right, we'll see what's it. a hunter. That's my name. Pretty girl like you. That's my only game. Got my love gun loaded with hugs and kisses. When I aim at you, ain't gonna be no misses. Ain't no need to run. Ain't no need to run, 'cause I got you in the sights of my loving gun. The last time I saw you standing on the street, I said to myself, I said, ooh, ain't she sweet? That's when I decided I was gonna find you. When I aim at you, ain't gonna be no misses. Ain't no use to hide, ain't no use to run, 'cause I got you in the sights of my loving gun. To hide, ain't no need to run, 'cause I got you in the sights of my loving gun. I'm a hunter, I'm gonna get you, gonna find you with my loving gun. I'm a hunter, call me the hunter.
All right. I have been proven completely wrong, ladies and gentlemen.
It works. All blues works by yourself. That's the most by yourself music there is.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of blues, the what is it? The Blues Hall of Fame?
Yeah, New York State Blues Hall of Fame. I was the youngest guy to get in at 29.
And it's funny you say that. That's exactly why I brought it up. I was going to ask if you felt old, because usually when people are honored for something, they're usually old, and you're not old.
No, but I started really, really young.
And you got in at 29?
And playing with as many of the cats as I could, and keeping as much of the legacy of what that stuff is about. There's a certain thing that used to go on with those guys that, again, I see a lot of young men and women picking up that thing. And I'd like to think that around here I had a little something to do with like preserving the some of the traditions that they were doing.
Okay.
And so, we could, I don't even know if I deserve to be in, but I definitely worked hard. And continue to work hard to keep that part of it alive, and what a lot of those people were doing as far as how they ran their show and tried to make people feel, and I hope that I continue to do a decent job of it.
Absolutely. And how did that? How did you discover the blues?
So I think it all starts with, we were talking about Hendrix records.
Yeah, right.
Hearing him do stuff that referenced Albert King, stuff that referenced Buddy Guy in a big way.
Right.
Made you dig Ray Charles, and made me dig Percy Mayfield, who wrote a lot of those kind of songs.
Yeah, sure. Oh, wow.
A lot of that stuff. And as a piano player, you can totally do that. You had to really work hard. I mean, first thing I learned to do, let me see if I can find the thing. Check this out. You can bend some of the more modern keyboards. You can do a decent BB King, You could do a lot. So if you want to do that on a piano, you got to find it. You got to find it like. You got to be able to bend by using the grace notes.
Right.
So I didn't have a keyboard at the time that could do the bends and stuff. So you're doing Red House, and how do you do, how do you do like a really big bend? You have to find it. All these things, and I think it's a big through line, and that's how I discovered it. So it's a long way to answer a short question.
Well, we loved every second of it.
Thanks, man.
And I'm always amazed, people like Ray Charles and yourself that can play. But now watching you, not only are you playing and playing superbly, but then you also know where all the buttons are, all the effects. Like, to me, I mean, a guy who can see it all, I'd be totally lost.
Well, I try to get keyboards that have buttons. A lot of them have touch screens now, and that
that doesn't
SOL
really help.
on that when it happens. I'm out of it. But they usually, the secret to that, for anyone who wants to know, is they have, almost every keyboard has one of those like arrow knobs where you just click through. And that is how you get around it.
Okay. Yeah, right.
Don't touch nothing, just use the knob and hope that it works, and that you don't. And once in a while, you can really get embarrassed by what comes up.
I doubt that.
Sometimes it'll come up with like beats and stuff on. You go to someone's gig and you sit in, and they have a sound that you wouldn't use, so you move the stuff around. All of a sudden, it's queuing up techno, and I'm like, all right, this is more embarrassing than I thought it would be.
You mentioned before people that you've working with different people.
Sure.
What did you do with Lenny Kravitz?
So I was produced by he was produced by a great, very underrated and not often enough talked about guy named Henry Hirsch. Produced all his records.
Yeah.
And Henry, did some other things. He did Michael Jackson, but he did it through Lenny. He did Terrence Trent D'Arby. He did through Lenny. He did a whole bunch of other stuff. But it never really came by his own looking for people. And so he found me through some people, and we did a whole bunch of demos together, and labels loved it, but without Lenny involved they wouldn't sign it. They loved it, but they wanted him to do something with it, and he was not in the stage of his career that he wanted to do that. Years later he would, but it wouldn't be with me.
Right. You have that stuff?
Oh yeah.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah, it's around. And the industry was very, very cool on it. I've had a lot of those things where you couldn't have gotten that far if it wasn't decent, but it didn't get to the masses in the way that I wanted it to.
Sure. And I'm still kind of bummed to hear that about that first album, because I love that album. I love all the three, the two plus the EP. I love that stuff.
Thanks, man. Well, it was a tough thing. We all go through that. I think if it doesn't happen now, it happens later.
Yeah.
And it happened to me young, and it taught me a very important lesson about everything that glitters ain't gold, and you got to be very careful before you sign with people.
But does it not? And I'm trying to figure out how to word this right. I'm sure you're not playing solely for the money, but
no.
But does it get to a point where, hey, I need to make a better living, so I'm just gonna play a wedding or play like.
We all have to do that.
Yeah.
Every good musician.
Well, Lenny Kravitz doesn't have to do that.
No, he doesn't. But that's the as Bernie Sanders says, the 1% of the 1%.
Right.
That's a very, very scattered few. And I don't have to do too much of it, but I have to do enough of it where it makes me happy when I don't have to do it.
Right.
But you know what? Any opportunity to make a living doing something you love is a beautiful thing, and you just
Right.
got to figure out how to make it fun. And if you have fun, they'll have fun.
Yeah, because you're still, I guess, at the end of the day, you're still playing music.
Sure.
Yeah.
That was the goal. Every teacher told you couldn't do it, and here you are doing it.
Exactly.
Now, we could argue the merits of weddings and all that stuff, but you got to do what you got to do. You got to pay your bills, and
of course,
and pay your own way in this world.
When you're playing a wedding or even Pace's Steakhouse,
sure,
you sneak in a little crazy days and bad dreams. You sneak those in.
I kind of don't, because it hurts when people don't acknowledge what you're doing.
Oh, that's interesting.
If people don't acknowledge that I'm doing a beautiful instrumental version of a Miley Cyrus tune, that's one thing. If
Right.
people don't acknowledge something that I worked really hard for, that hurts.
And that happens?
At a wedding, they act like they don't. So here's the funny thing about this is if you've noticed, I like a long answer to a short question.
That's all right. That's why the show is 90 minutes, so that's good.
So I always had trouble as a blind person. I think it has a lot to do with it, because I can't see what's going on with the audience, right? So if I'm playing and people aren't seeming to get into it, it really used to dishearten me in a big way.
Okay.
And I would tense up, and I wouldn't like the performance, and it would really blow a lot of nights for me.
Wow.
And over the pandemic, myself and the Linda lady were reading the Ray Charles autobiography.
Oh, nice.
Now, I'll tell you why this is important. So when I was a kid, I saw Ray Charles at Stoller Center, Stony Brook.
Wow.
And he came out, and he was doing like this. They started with a big band, huge big band.
Okay.
And all of a sudden you hear this burning like Bud Pyle style piano. All this stuff, I can't even do it from this angle. I can't do it from any angle. And you don't know who it is. They pull the curtain, it's Ray playing the nastiest bebop you ever heard in your life.
Wow.
Then he goes into I Got a Woman and all these tunes that we all know and love. And the crowd's freaking out. And he never says, thank you, it's great to be here. How are you tonight? I love New York. All he says is, the band's too damn loud. And he finished and said goodnight. That was it. And I thought maybe Ray was older and in a bad mood. And I became a collector years later and bought all the old concerts from the 50s and 60s that I could find. Same thing, right? So in the biography, he goes, I can't think about you when you come and see me. It would weird me out. I wouldn't do a good job. So I practice. And I started doing that on gigs, like trying to kick your own butt when you're not sure if people are liking it.
Okay.
And what's great about it is you kick your own butt a lot of the times, whether people care or not. And then you find out on the breaks, hey, I love that version of Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper, that you did something weird with it. And I love that you took a Metallica song and figured out how to play it on piano and make it classical in some weird way. So people do get it. They just aren't going to give it to you because they're cutting loose after work and having a good time and having a drink and telling a funny story with their friends about something. So it's really helpful to learn that it doesn't always have to. You don't have to be the center of things to be kicking butt. And that's a big metaphor for life. And I'm really working on that the last bunch of years. I hope that makes a lot of sense.
No, that made total sense, and I'm impressed.
Well, thanks, man. But that's been
no, really.
So that's how I go about those things.
Yeah.
So, but that being said, if you don't have to make it worse for yourself by playing stuff that is near and dear to you, I would do that.
You've and I'm not. This might come out silly, but I'm not. You've got to be probably the most egoless musician
That's not true. The reason I work on these things is because I have an ego, and because it gets hurt by the things that we can't help. And
yeah, but to recognize that and to work on it, that's egoless.
I think we are all working on that. I think that's.
I don't think everybody's working on that.
I think we're all trying to figure out how to not be miserable at the things we love, and everything you love can make you miserable sometimes.
Yeah, and a lot of musicians and comedians are miserable because they're not the center of attention.
Right, and that's hard because that's why we're all just begging to be listened to, and it's knowing that about yourself. But the most important artist that you have to satisfy, the most important audience member you'll ever have is yourself.
Yeah.
And you have to like what you're doing, and that's a great way to focus on it in a healthy way. Because the last bunch of years have been a lot of playing by myself, and I have a really good friend who's a brilliant jazz guitarist, and they always say to him, we just want background music, and it really hurts his feelings.
Sure.
I know what they mean, but imagine working your hardest to be the greatest you can be at something for people just wanting it to be way down the list of things that they care about.
Yeah, absolutely right.
And that's hard, and I understand why that hurts his feelings.
I went to a wedding once, and the wedding band is playing, and they're playing all the usual stuff. People are dancing. During dinner, the band takes a break. And they were eating too, but the guitar player, he finished eating. He went back up, and he's doing just that. He's doing the background music.
And it's gorgeous, right?
Well, that was the thing. Not only was it gorgeous, but he was doing like this. I don't know, jazz. He was just kind of freestyling, but you could tell. I was listening, and I could tell it was the Beatles. I Feel Fine.
Sure.
So and exactly what you just said. I thought to myself, let me go to this guy and tell him I hear it, and I'm enjoying it. So at least. Makes him feel like somebody's hearing
Someone's getting it, yeah.
So I did that. I get up. Well, of course, I finished eating too. I wasn't going to give up my steak, but
of course not. Free steak.
Exactly. So I went over, and I told him, I said, I hear what you're doing. I said, really enjoying it. He was thrilled, and then he pulled out his wallet. This guy was in the band for John Lennon's last TV appearance.
Wow.
And he shows me a picture. Mark Rivera, who plays sax with Billy Joel, he was in the picture too. And we ended up having this great conversation. And I was so proud of myself that I went and talked to this guy because
you understand
that reason. At least he knows now that somebody
cares
got
about
it. Right.
The coolest thing when you're doing instrumentals is when people start singing along. I'm like, somebody figured it out.
Right.
Because it's really the challenge. Like I'll take like Time After Time, and I'll start it, It just sounds like pretty chords.
Yeah. Oh, now I hear it. Yeah, I didn't hear it at first. Okay.
Because I started with the chorus. Do all these fun things with it, and it gets really intense if you let it. That's the chill version, but you can really get intense with it, and that is a great way to get through it. And it's helped me through the last bunch of years, and it's helped me actually get better when it does matter to people in a big way.
Right. Yeah. Wow. That's fantastic. We're actually out of time, which
man.
I'm amazed. But I barely scratched the surface. I got a whole page here of stuff that I was going to bring up.
Soon.
Yeah, we're definitely not waiting 5 years, pal.
Of course, man, anytime.
I'm going to try and get you in here again before the year is up.
I would love that.
Yeah, fantastic. So Pace's Steakhouse tomorrow night and every Friday. Springfest in Sayville Saturday?
That looks like it's rained out.
Oh, okay.
I feel like that SNL skit with the old hip hop guys and all the gigs are to be announced.
Right.
Remember that bit?
I think so. Yeah.
but yeah, I'm all over the place. DannyKeanMusic.com. I'm on Facebook and Insta. And hopefully I'm on your radar and on your list of things to go out and do and be a part of.
Absolutely. And go. So get the self-titled album and the EP. There, you You can get him on streaming, but go to his website. They can get him through your website, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go to the website so he makes a little money.
That always helps.
Yes, and it's great stuff. I have it all. I love it, and it's good to see you, man.
Always
it's
a
really
pleasure,
good to see
man.
you.
Always
a
a
lot of fun. Always love listening to you play.
Thanks, man.
And it's always interesting and funny when you're around. So yeah, we're definitely going to do this again. DannyKeanMusic.com. Kean, Kean.
Correct.
Just putting that out there for anybody who wants to go check it out. All right, it is time for us to go. We got Sports Bash with Peter Schwartz coming up at 1:00. So be sure to join us for that. And that's it for today. Tomorrow morning, Coffee with the Dog at 9 a.m. I'll be back at 11 a.m. Rosie is back, and Lou Pratz is joining us. We're going to have a lot of fun. And that's that. And don't forget Governors this weekend. What's going on at Governors? Some of the comedians you'll see on the Governors stage this weekend. Tonight, Mark Anthony Synagoga. He's playing right here in Levittown. Patty Rossborough is playing here in Levittown through the weekend. Terry McNeely, Ivory Fields, James Grimm, Tom Egan, Tom Farrell, Tom Galati, Carla Okerson, Kathy Arnold, Emily Santosis. Joey Cola is playing the Brokerage on Saturday. Mike Burton, Joe Winchell, Andy Plajanos, and Tony Landolfi. Just some of the names you'll see on the Governor's stage this weekend. Go to govs.com and check out the full schedule. Make your reservations. And, of course, knockemdeadcomedy.com. Check out our schedule and information on how you can hire us for your event. All right, and we are out. Danny, again, a lot of fun, pal. And thanks to Linda, too. She's about to work hard again as we clean this stuff up. She's the best. All right, everybody enjoy the rest of your Thursday. We'll see you in a little bit for Sports Bash. Thanks, guys. See you later.